Hey, what's up, guys? This is Ricky V, and you're listening to episode number 38 of the Elite Fitness podcast. And in this one, we're going to finish up our do's and don'ts series. This is the third installment of these kind of short, quick bite pieces of little advice for all of us steroid users in this black market. So here we go. Let me finish it up. Do use larger needles to draw and the smaller pins to inject. It's just so much easier. It's just so much easier to get all of your sauce out of the multi-dose vial when you use a nice large syringe. Make sure to push some air pressure in or add a second needle to relieve some of the air pressure. That way you can draw it out pretty nicely. And then when you are about to inject, just change the needle out for a fresh, new, smaller gauge needle. You don't ever really want to kind of use the same needle to draw than you used to inject, because once the needle goes through the plunger the first time, that little micro edge at the point of the needle begins to get a little bit dull. And then when you go into your skin, you're going to have to push quite a bit harder in order to get that needle in there, you know? So really changing out and using a fresh needle to inject. And you could always use the same needle the same thick gauge needle to draw from the multi-dose vial, since that one is not touching any of your parts, so you could reuse. Do not ever mix oil and water in the same shot. So don't mix any of this water-based steroids with oil-based steroids. Now, maybe this is not even applicable nowadays, because nowadays most everything comes in water-based. Back in the day, when I was a younger man, you could only get Winstrol in water-based. And some guys would make the mistake of mixing the Winstrol along with their Masteron or one of these other cutting agents. Ended up with some pretty bad infections. When you inject a water-based steroid, that water is meant to dissipate quite quickly. It's out of there, and it leaves the crystalline hormone behind. When you use oil-based, that oil-based depot is going to take a bit longer to dissipate. If you mix the water in with the oil, you're going to have a situation where droplets of water are in there, kind of incubated in the middle of the oil, letting bacteria, giving bacteria a chance to grow. This normally wouldn't happen with a water-based shot, which dissipates quite quickly. The oil creates a droplet of water in the middle of it under temperature, and it creates the breeding ground for bacteria. So don't ever do that. But I guess maybe that might be a never mind. I mean, I see most of this stuff now everywhere in oil. But if you do run across water-based stuff, do not mix it. And look, I've tried mixing Winstrol with my vitamin B12 in one shot. Bad idea. When you mix the two, they crystallize a little bit, and then you end up having your injection get stuck every few pushes, because a piece of crystal forms right at when you're injecting out. So also keep that in mind. To use these water-based steroids that crystallize or B12, it's not a bad idea to heat it under warm water a little bit, and just it gives a chance for stuff to just suspend much nicer. Do keep your dosages under 1,000 milligrams. Look, guys, this is just for me. If you're just trying to look good with your shirt off, and that's kind of the only goal you have, you don't need to really be slamming on a ton of fucking steroids. Unless you're competing and trying to put on muscle mass year after year, everybody should be able to make some pretty damn good progress with a cycle that's just 1,000 milligrams per week. That's just my opinion. Do not take orals for more than 4 to 6 weeks. Now, I've talked to competitors that are stepping on stage, and their coaches will have them do 80 milligrams of orals for 10 weeks. I've dated a fitness girl or two whose coaches have had them on 10 milligrams of Anavar for 6 months. I've read some clinical studies on oxandrolone and some of these other steroids for wasting diseases, and some of the participants were on steroids for 25 weeks or more. But when it comes to just a healthy individual trying to look good with their shirt off, trying not to cause too many problems and health harms and physical harms to themselves while trying to look good, 4 to 6 weeks is about it, man. That's about when you want to give your liver and your organs a rest, dude. It's just my opinion. I'm sure some guys out there see it a different way. Do take N2Guard with every cycle. I designed the perfect liver and organ support product for anybody on oral steroids or just taking injectables too, because those affect your liver as well. We just don't talk about it as much because the orals affect it way more. But yeah, injectable steroids do have an effect on your liver. Now, my N2Guard product has TUDCA, milk thistle, as well as about 40 other ingredients that are all combined and they're all formulated to help you with your steroid cycle. Do not use Western Union or MoneyGram or bank wires to send funds for your purchases. Guys, this is not 1999 anymore, okay? We're not walking into fucking Western Union or MoneyGram to send money out anymore. Really, it's just those days are kind of sort of over with. You could mess with it online and blah, 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 but it's just not the best way to do it anymore. That leads me on to my next. Do get familiar with the use of Bitcoin. It's pretty simple, man. If you can work in a regular app on your phone, you can work Bitcoin. It's quite simple, easy to use, extremely anonymous, and you just have to watch the fluctuation. Make sure that you don't get caught on the bad end of a quick fluctuation. Just as soon as you fund it, spend it. So you're not worried about the market and what it's doing. But yeah, Bitcoin, good, anonymous, all that good stuff. Now, to my next one, in case you don't want to buy mail order or overseas, do not get too friendly with your gym source if that's what you're using. Just don't. The guy could get himself in trouble and then try to hem you up. If your source ever calls you and says, "Hey, dude, I need to borrow $1,000 to buy a big shipment of the sauce," you need to politely decline and never talk to the guy again. The way laws work with cooperation, if he can get you on recording to admit to actually helping him fund and being a participant, helping him fund his enterprise, now you're in trouble too. You know, now he gets time off because he got you an indictment. So do not get too friendly with your gym source. He's not your buddy. He's not your boy. He's not any of that. And as soon as they come down and slam on him, there's a good chance he's gonna look to see who he can throw under the bus. And if you put yourself in that situation where you're letting the guy borrow money and maybe giving him rides places and dumb shit like that, you might get yourself hemmed up in a real weird situation that you don't want to be in. So do use anonymous forums to communicate and ask your questions. Look, guys, the Elite Fitness forums and evolutionary.org forums, they've been around for ages now. It's just a good place for guys to come in and ask your questions, for you guys to come in and be around other gym bros and get your questions answered. See who's good, who's not. Make sure that you're not making any mistakes, wasting your hard-earned cash, flushing it down the toilet on guys that are never going to deliver at all. Or if they do deliver, they're going to send you some bunk, bootleg-ass shit that you don't want to be taking. So do use the anonymous forums. Keep up to date with who's who, what, and where. That's the best way to not get your money taken or not be maybe injecting something that's just not up to par. Do not shop from guys that solicit you. That's right. There's a lot of steroid scammers out there. And if they see you participate on certain forums or blogs, certain groups on social pages, they're going to solicit you. They're going to spark a quick conversation. Next thing you know, they'll be offering you steroids. I'd be real careful with taking on these guys that are soliciting you. If they've got all this time to talk to you, when are they shipping stuff out? Really, the good sources are the ones that you're going to have to go and find. You're going to have to go yourself and get. These spammers that solicit you either via email or messengers in some of these forums or social, Facebook, Instagram, all these guys that are going out of their way to solicit you instead of waiting for you to come to them, waiting for you to find them. Those are the guys that you need to be real worried about. Be real sketchy, real scary of, because they will get you. They will get you. You will send money and not get anything at all, or maybe just get flat out sent bunk stuff, scammed. So be real careful when you get approached by anyone telling you that they're gonna get you steroids. Now, do make sure you cycle off properly every cycle. Make sure you run that full PCT. 6, 8 weeks, 10 weeks maybe, you'll still be making progress. And make sure that a good 4 weeks after your last dose of PCT meds, you go and get those blood tests. Make sure that your body is fine. Everything from liver value to testosterone levels, you want to make sure it's back on track and it's all good to go. Do not mix recreational drugs with steroids. You can compound some problems and side effects from both of them. Some recreational drugs that are stimulants along with steroids, in my opinion, you could be putting your heart at risk. Liver from drinking while taking orals and things like that. Just if you're going to be taking steroids, if you are that serious, that deep into this lifestyle, to be taking a performance enhancement compound to help you along, then you should be so serious about it that you really are not into mind altering substances or anything that's going to hold back your progress or toxify your body even further or cause a sort of toxic synergy with the steroids. So staying away from alcohol and other drugs is completely necessary when you embark in this lifestyle, or at least when you're on cycle, when you are in the mix on it, taking something. And now the last one, to end on a good note, do adopt the lifestyle and make this a habit and a way of life. Don't just come in, subscribe to the podcast, grab some juice, run a cycle or two, get discouraged, get hurt, get divorced, get fired, whatever it is, and then you're sad, you're not training, you're not dieting. Don't be one of these guys. You make this a lifestyle, you make this a way of life, proper eating, proper training, consistently, all the time, on the grind. You make that a lifestyle, and then everything else will fall into place. You know, this is a really good one, really good positive one to end on. Make the lifestyle changes. Be a lifer in this. I see it because I'm in this, guys. I'm in this industry. I see the high turnover rate on guys in the mix, customers. Guys will stay in for a year or two, fall off for 5, come back for 1, fall off again for 4. I see you guys out there. I see when you come back from my store to shop from me. Some of you have been shopping from me since 2011. I see orders 2011, 2012, 2013, and then you're gone. Until 2015, 16, 17, you're gone again. And then you're back in my shopping cart. These are your cycles of interest in fitness. You're hot about it for a year or two. You come off, you stop caring. Then you come back, you're hot about it. Look, just stay with it. Stick with it. Because the older you get, it's so much harder it is to get back into shape once you get out of shape. So much harder, even with the steroids. Extremely hard. So don't do it to yourself. Stay on it. Stay on the grind. Make it consistent. Make it a lifestyle change. And you're all great. Guys, this is Ricky V. Rock saying goodbye. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.